That's a wrap for the Chicago Cubs regular season, ending 92-70. Now it's time for some much-needed R&R before they head off to Washington for the playoffs to face the Nationals. Game 1 of the NLDS is set for Friday. Live from Wrigley Field, I'm Jennifer Nazha, WGN News. This is the studio where Majera broke barriers in her career, becoming the first woman ever hired to report sports for Chicago's very own WGN News. Holiday travelers are fighting rush hour traffic to get to their loved ones. I'm here on the Kennedy, and as you can see behind me, traffic is heavy and travel times are high. As for students from the affected countries, DePaul sent out an email advising them to defer from traveling outside the United States. The email also provides multiple online counseling resources to help these students through this time of uncertainty. The problems outlined in the report have often led to tension and distrust between the community and the CPD. Although the app is aimed at people with disabilities, it does not exclude those who do not have disabilities.
I'm establishing new vetting measures to keep radical Islamic terrorists out of the United States of America. We don't want them here.
President Trump signed an executive order keeping refugees from entering the country for 120 days and citizens from 7 predominantly Muslim nations out for 3 months. The order led to immediate confusion and concern.
Now, the scary thing is that you could be on the plane and you arrive here and you are 6 feet away from family members, from being in a country that you fought for to get into for so long, and yet you're sent back or you're held illegally for however long.
Protesters flooded airports nationwide, including Chicago O'Hare, and lawyers volunteered to help those who were kept from entering. For many Muslims, it was frightening and troubling.
The current situation is very concerning because it's discriminatory. It's targeting Muslims quite explicitly.
But a federal judge in Seattle temporarily blocked the president's order, allowing those who were banned to start coming into the U.S. again. In court, the state of Washington argued that the order was targeting the Muslim religion and claimed that was unconstitutional. In response, President Trump tweeted, "The judge opens up our country to potential terrorists and others that do not have our best interests at heart. Bad people are very happy." Many Trump supporters agree and feel that the president's order is needed.
I do consider it important to protect our country and to protect our country from radical terror, radical Islamic terror that's happening outside in Europe especially.
Although Owen agrees with the order, he does not believe it was properly executed. However, he still feels that President Trump wants the best for this country. DePaul and several other universities have expressed their opposition to the order. And the DePaul Faculty Council weighed in saying, quote, "The DePaul Faculty Council strongly opposes the Trump administration's executive order banning certain refugees and suspending visas and other immigration benefits to all nationals of 7 majority Muslim countries." As for students from the affected countries, DePaul sent out an email advising them to defer from traveling outside the United States. The email also provides multiple online counseling resources to help these students through this time of uncertainty. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Jennifer Nazha. It was long expected, yet in some ways still shocking. The United States Justice Department issued a report detailing the use of excessive force and other problems in the Chicago Police Department. I talked to a number of students here at DePaul to get their reaction to that report.
The Department of Justice has concluded that there is reasonable cause to believe that the Chicago Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of use of excessive force.
Unreasonable force, racism, and a lack of accountability are just a few of the findings in an extensive report by the Department of Justice on the Chicago Police Department, the CPD.
I'm not surprised. People in Black and brown communities have been saying this for so long. It's just a matter of time. The Department of Justice would have caught up to what the people have been saying for years.
The 164-page report found that CPD uses force almost 10 times more often against blacks than against whites. Ward himself says he's been in situations where police officers pointed their guns at him when he felt there was no immediate threat. He says police need to treat blacks with greater respect.
You should look at me and tell that is a human being.
The problems outlined in the report have often led to tension and distrust between the community and the CPD.
To me, it's really heartbreaking. I have family that is in law enforcement, and for them, it's really dangerous for them.
Olson says there is room for improvement, but she believes that most officers put their lives on the line every day for the greater good.
The police officers, there are good ones out there, and unfortunately, there is kind of the stigma now that, a majority is bad, even though that's more than likely not the case.
The report says 98% of misconduct complaints resulted in no discipline against police officers, something many feel needs to be changed.
If they do partake in misconduct policing, they need to be held accountable.
Former Attorney General Loretta Lynch says the city and the Justice Department will work together on a plan to make changes in the police department, a plan that will be overseen by a federal judge. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Jennifer Nazha. BYOB now has a whole new meaning for shoppers in Chicago. Bring your own bag. The city recently enacted a bag tax requiring retailers to charge customers 7 cents per bag, unless they bring their own. This is Chicago's latest attempt to minimize the use of disposable bags, which often end up in landfills and cause environmental problems. The new tax replaces a previous ban on plastic bags, which city officials say wasn't as effective as expected. Although the city claims the tax will also help lower its deficit, many still feel it's an inconvenience.
I would say that it does make it a little more difficult as a student. I do go grocery shopping a lot in the middle of the day for snacks and food, so it's just kind of like an extra little percentage added on to my bill every time I go shopping.
For others who support the tax, the issue is simple.
Well, buy a bag, bring it with you, love the earth.
Some students are avoiding the 7 cents by just skipping the bags entirely and holding their items in their hands. The tax breaks down like this. The city takes 5 cents, with retailers getting 2 cents. It's up to the store to decide whether to absorb the cost or pass it on to the customer. Many stores, including Walgreens, Target, Jewel Osco, and Whole Foods, say that they will be charging customers for bags. The answer to this for many? Buy a reusable bag. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Jennifer Nazha. By now you may have heard of dating apps like Bumble, Tinder, and Hinge, but a new app called Glimmer is changing the game. Glimmer is a dating app that focuses primarily on people with cognitive and physical disabilities. DePaul alum Jeff Anderson is the CEO and co-founder of Glimmer. He says his inspiration for creating the app came from his brother Steve, a 33-year-old living with cognitive disabilities.
Time and time again, he would face the same dilemma, which was, do I tell the people that I'm connecting with that I have a disability? Am I upfront about it? And is that going to scare them off?
He would be alone. He'd be saying, why can't I be like my brothers? Why can't I have a girlfriend like them or anything? So I watched this and I kept thinking, what else could we do to help them?
Anderson and his mother Christine wanted to eliminate this problem and create a safe space for people with disabilities to be open about who they are.
People with disabilities often have a hard time disclosing that information on other social and dating apps. So we took that into account and kind of just made it easier for people to be transparent about the challenges they face.
When signing up for the app, Glimmer users are asked whether they have a disability. If they do, they can designate what that disability is and choose to show or hide that information on their profile. Users are then asked if they are seeking a friendship or a romantic relationship with men or women. They can then search through a variety of settings, including age and disability type, to customize their matches. Glimmer has already helped people with disabilities like Steve to connect with others and realize they are not alone.
Yeah, I think it's easier because we have more in common and we're both facing the same challenges.
Although the app is aimed at people with disabilities, it does not exclude those who do not have disabilities. The Andersons hope that Glimmer will help the disabled develop relationships and overcome loneliness.
I'm hoping that it will work for this population, and so that they do get the opportunity to make a lot more friends and have a lot more social life, because they deserve it.
As for Steve, he says he's already having success with Glimmer and wants even more people to have the same results.
Hopefully I can try and inspire more people to join every day.
For Good Day DePaul, I'm Jennifer Nazha. In sports, time is critical. DePaul basketball timekeeper Kevin McCann knows this very well. During the week, McCann works as an academic advisor in the DePaul College of Education. But on many weekends and some weeknights, you'll find him center court at the DePaul men's basketball games. For nearly 50 years, McCann has manually kept the clock at almost every game, and his ties to the university and its basketball program go way back. McCann's father worked as the sports information director at DePaul from the 1950s until the 1970s. McCann says he wanted to attend DePaul and become a second-generation Blue Demon, or in his words, a double demon.
So that was 1971-72 that I did the clock, and I haven't given it up since.
From DePaul women's basketball games at McGrath-Phillips Arena to men's games at All-State Arena, McCann has run the clock at thousands of Blue Demon games and has only missed 4 games his entire career. And with all this come priceless memories. When DePaul recently played its last game at All-State Arena before their big move to Wintrust Arena in the South Loop, McCann reminisced about some of his favorite moments in Rosemont.
With the first game against Gonzaga, when John Stockton played for them, the years of Mark Aguirre and Terry Cummings and the real super teams we had with Coach Ray Meyer. Coach Meyer getting his 700th victory here at DePaul was a very memorable game.
Through his involvement with this program, McCann has built many relationships, and some with DePaul greats, like Coach Ray Meyer.
Coach Meyer and our family were very close through the years, know him quite well, and it's been about 11 years now since his passing, and he still has good memories.
McCann has also made lasting friendships. Although there's a lot of pressure in running the clock, he says he couldn't do it without the people sitting alongside him behind the table.
Kevin's a great guy to work with. Just like the team on the floor, we're a team here at the table. And Kevin's really our anchor. Having done it for over 46 years, I've leaned on him a lot over the 11 years that I've been here.
Throughout his career at DePaul, there have been many changes in McCann's life, but his job at midcourt has remained constant.
I started this clock as a college student and as a single person, then I became a married man, and then I became a father, all through these 46 years working the games.
McCann says that he plans to hit the 50-year mark as DePaul basketball's timekeeper. Even though this is the last game at the All-State Arena, he says he is looking forward to being the timekeeper at Wintrust Arena this upcoming fall. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Jennifer Nazha.